Hello and happy Friday, everybody. This is There's No Crying in Crochet. We are the podcast where we take your everyday questions and we try to answer them. So today is going to be a fun day, but let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'm Biz from Bizzy Crochet, and this is my co-host.
I am Debbie from MadameStitch.
And we welcome you and are so glad that you've joined us today. Thank you for being here. Just a couple of business things before we get going because we've got an exciting day today and we're really excited for you to meet our guest speaker today. But first, if you are on YouTube, make sure that you like and click or click like and subscribe on YouTube for notifications from us. We're always updating new tutorials and various things. I'm at Bizzy Crochet and Deb is at MadameStitch Crochet on YouTube. And if you're streaming on Facebook, make sure that you give StreamYard permission to see your name so we can see your name while we're chatting with you. We're going to skip our What's Up this week just because we have a special guest today. We don't want to take any time away from her. But we are going to be talking today with Sonya Blackstone from Blackstone Designs. So give me just a second. I'm going to bring her on. Hey, Sonya.
Hey.
Welcome to today's podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to talk with you.
I'm excited to be here.
That's awesome. So you're a part of our back to school theme this month. And the reason why we reached out to you is because you are like the guru of gifts.
I love to make things that are giftable.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, first of all, it gives you that quickie. I can get this creativeness off my mind and out into the world. And it, then you can give it to somebody and they're perfect for that.
You get the double whammy. I get to create, you get to have.
Yeah.
You know what? People love to get crochet gifts. They really do. So that's a perfect thing.
They do. So let's go ahead and just get to know you a little bit, Sonya, because we know you, but we want everybody else who's watching, because our audience has expanded a little bit since the last time you and I talked. And we want to make sure that they know who you are as well. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm in Maine, central Maine, with my husband. I have 3 kids, but I actually have 2 grandsons. So I only have 2 kids at home.
Cool.
And my oldest son is married. So I get that new baby, extended family. So yeah. I just actually had my second grandson born at the end of June.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
I mean, that's really what I have going on. I homeschool my daughter, so that's coming right up around the corner. But, just kind of soaking up the summer family time right now.
That's awesome. What are the things that your family likes to do together?
It could be anything. We just got back from Portland, which is just an hour away from here, but my husband actually just went out to Arizona to see his dad, and he was one of the people that was stuck in the airports during this.
No.
He was stuck on his way to Arizona and on his way home.
Oh, no.
So he ended up spending 15 hours on his way out, stuck at the airport, and then 24 on his way back.
Oh, my
So
word.
that was, but me and the kids had gone and stayed down near the airport so we could pick him up, and because he didn't come home, we ended up another night down there. So yeah, I mean, that was fun, and we just went around, we checked out the malls, and we just anything. It can be anything as long as you're just having that time.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what airport was he flying in and out of near you?
So he left Portland Jetport, which is right here, southern Maine.
Right.
And that flight actually got delayed an hour, and his layover in Charlotte was only for an hour. So he missed the connecting flight, and then he was stuck in Charlotte. So then when he got to Phoenix, everything was okay. And then when he was trying to leave Phoenix, he was stuck again. And it was so messy. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Delay, cancel. Delay, cancel. It was wild.
I don't know how my in-laws fared, but my aunt and uncle were, I think, in Mexico when that happened, and they were trying to get home. They were coming home from a vacation. And I don't know how because they didn't really put anything on Facebook after they said, hey, we're stuck. And then that was kind of it.
I think
I didn't realize how widespread it was.
It was crazy. And like, I think by the end of it, my husband was just like, it is what it is at this point. Maybe
Whatever
I'll get home
will
someday,
be.
you know? But funny enough, my brother-in-law was traveling at the same time, and he had come up from Florida to New York and then Maine. And then he flew back out of New York. He had no problems whatsoever.
Oh my goodness.
Because Philadelphia was a mess. I mean, I was seeing all of the reports, and it was baggage everywhere. People couldn't get where they needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just depended upon where you were, right?
Yeah. And then all the hotels were booked.
Yep.
Amtrak was booked. Greyhound. So there was like no way to even leave. There was no alternate transportation.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, if we ever wanted to know what the apocalypse is going to look like, it's gonna
yeah.
It might start at the airports. Goodness gracious. Oh my gosh.
We're glad he's home.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And safe. Definitely. All right. So tell us a little bit about your crochet journey. Like I said, I know you, but not everybody does. So like, who taught you? How did you get started? You know, like what's the first thing you made? That kind of stuff.
So crochet is really a family craft. My mother and her sisters crochet, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great, you know, so it's just everybody in my family's always crocheted. And I grew up watching everybody crochet and receiving the crocheted blankets and sweaters and things like that. So I think it was probably only natural that it had my attention. And I've always been crafty. I've always loved to create, whether I was making Barbie clothes as, you know, an 8-year-old, or friendship bracelets, you know, in middle school, things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it was really only a natural progression of things, but I did actually teach myself how to crochet. So as much as everybody in my family did, it just worked out that I ended up buying a Learn to Crochet, Leisure Arts, or whoever that is. And
of course.
Yeah. And of course I could call my mom and be like, I don't think I quite understand this, but you know.
So how old were you when you did that?
I was 17 because I was pregnant with my oldest son and I wanted to make him a baby blanket. And I was like, you know, and I knew nothing about anything. I went and bought crochet hooks and random different balls of Red Heart, Super Saver, and they didn't even match. They didn't go together, but you know, I just had it in my mind. I was learning today.
And isn't it funny how we always start out, and the first thing everybody says that I've ever taught is like, I want to make a blanket.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Okay, I'm going to break that stereotype because I did not. Apparently my design likes have not changed. I made a scarf.
Wow.
A granny square scarf. So not always a blanket, but very predictable.
My very first project ended up being sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say you've really clung to your roots.
A little bit.
My first project that I actually completed was a dishcloth. And you know, Peaches and Cream has the inside the label. That's what it was. I had bought that like I can still remember the color, and I think they still sell it. It's like that ecru color with the spots of orange and brown in it.
Yeah. I think we've all had that color at some point. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite ones, actually.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, and you know, you talk about the patterns on the ball band. When you used to buy the yarn based on the pattern that was in the ball band because you couldn't get patterns anywhere else.
Yes.
You know, there wasn't this plethora of people out there designing stuff. So that's kind of a way to segue into how did you start designing?
Yeah. Well, with designing, I actually started off making projects for craft fairs. And then I was because even when I started, this was just 12 years ago, but it was still a little bit harder to access patterns than it is now. I mean, you have the paywalls and stuff, but even you wanted to get to Lion brand patterns online, and it was still a little bit of a hoop to get to that stuff.
It was.
So there was things that you wanted to make or you had an idea, but you couldn't quite find the pattern. And that's really how I got started. It was easier to just, okay, let's just make it instead of trying to find it and figure out how we're going to access it.
Right.
So and then I had designed this little duck that was for craft fairs, and they sold a lot, and I had posted about it because I actually started off as beautiful ducklings. And I just had I would sell my finished items on my page. And a lady was like, can I have that pattern? And I was like, you want the pattern, you know, and
just write that up for you.
Me, you know, and I've been designing crochet patterns and putting them online ever since.
It's awesome. And it's so satisfying.
I always say the shout out to Gail, because I still remember who it was and like the moment and everything.
Oh my goodness. Like, you have no idea. You're the one that started my business.
You really? Yeah.
It's so funny. No, and you've got such an array of different designs. And I think that I ran into you, I don't remember what group we were in, but I think what attracted me first to you were the hot pads that you do, that you can stick the little spatula and a cookie dough or whatever. Yes, like that. So that's one of your newer ones.
Because we were talking about gifts for teachers, and I was like, you know,
those are a lot bigger than I thought they were.
Yeah, they're quite good size so that the spatula fits and the cookie dough will fit in there. And then they do still work just the same. You can fold it over and grab your pans.
Oh my gosh, I and
oh my gosh.
Such a and they probably work up pretty quickly. They probably work up pretty quickly.
They're not bad. And that's really the kind of season I'm in right now. I love the quick patterns right now, you know? I think trying to balance like all the time and like homeschooling and, you know, trying to be present in your own life and just the other things. I love to craft, like I said before. So I want to go out and build my blanket ladder. I don't want to be inside crocheting, but I still love crochet. And now I've made it a business. So you still have to find time for it, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Quick and giftable. I love giftable. I always think about that. If you were to follow my pattern and make it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I talked over the top.
That, like, what do you, of course, you know, here's another one. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Towel toppers.
You go. I was talking over the top of you. I'm
towel
sorry.
hangers. I love it.
No, I think we're having a little glitch. I think like there's been a little bit of a lag. So like, I'm like, oh, is she talking? But yeah, so that's the other thing. I always think when I'm designing a pattern, yes, I love this. And this is what's sparking me right now. But will you be able to use it? Will you want to make it? And if you make it, could you gift it to somebody? Would you want to hang it off your own stove? Like, so I'm always thinking in those terms. Not only might you love it, but you could give it to somebody else as well.
Right.
Oh, that's a great way to approach it.
Yeah.
So hang on, I'm just getting to my so from the beginning, and I'm going to ask you one of those kind of like go-to questions. How do you think that your design aesthetics from when you began have shifted to now? Like when you started out, I feel like you were a lot of like more garmenty, and now it feels like you're the smaller, more quick projects.
Yeah.
Or did I just answer that for you?
That's really just, I still design garments. Like I do sketches a lot of the time when I think of an idea, and I have sketchbooks full of things and I have a lot of garments, but it's just not where I'm at right now. I don't want the long committed project, because when you make things like a towel hanger, I mean, it's quick, it's easy, but I also I can have it tech edited and we're moving on. But when you get a garment, then you have to have it tested and you have to do all those edits over and over until everything is right. It depends on the garment, of course, but sometimes it gets into this really long, and it takes that much longer to get it published as well, because you have to wait for all that feedback and do all that editing. Finding models to put them on is a pain in the neck sometimes. So it's just kind of where I'm at right now. I love designing garments, and I will again. I have a ton, but I just not right now.
Life is very full.
Completely understand. You know, and when you're in that grandma phase, because I'm joining it in 5 days. 5 days of becoming, So, I mean, honestly, my priorities as well, even as a crochet designer, have shifted so much just in the last couple months, because I'm going back to school and pulling back from my design business. And I was like, well, gosh, how long am I doing that for? And I thought, well, I need to give myself at least a school year, you know? So it's just a whole new world. And when you do stuff like that, each phase of your life really determines what you're going to be doing.
Yes, it's true. Yes. You want to still be able to do that. And when you've turned it into a business, it's imperative that you keep going and you keep, you know, making it work, and you design something to keep it fresh, but like you don't always have time for the big stuff. So
right. I think that's perfect when you've got a new grandbaby.
Yeah, you're absolutely
your
right.
grandkids live close by.
Yep, they're only about a half hour. They actually lived in the same town, but they moved earlier this year. You know, they needed more space. They were having another baby, so yeah.
But they're close enough that you can spend time with them, which is good.
Yes.
So we want to talk to you based on your expertise, because I know that you've done a lot of gifting for teachers and things of that nature. What do you think would be now the trendiest one kind of going around? What have you seen? And what do you think is the most practical?
Honestly, the most practical gift for a teacher is a gift card. It just is. Whether you want to give them a Walmart gift card so they can buy their school supplies, or you want to give them one to Starbucks so they can get a coffee in the morning, like the gift card holder.
The cutest thing.
Yes.
I mean, I have a ton, but the shark I just made for Shark Week. So, this is the example I had on hand. But it really is the most practical thing, and teachers will tell you that. They love when you give your kids handprint, but you got 30 students per year, and what are they doing with 120 hand printed mugs? You know what I mean? So it's a sweet gesture. It's but you got to think a little bit more. Pot holders, that's another good one, because who doesn't? Does your teacher have a corgi? Then this is something she could use over and over and over again, and it makes sense.
Besides the fact that I was looking at that when you were holding that up before, is that it does make a really great pot holder. But if you don't want to use it as a pot holder, it's a cute little basket you could put little notepads in or something like that.
Yes. My sisters just hung theirs. They don't use them. I made them for them for Christmas the year that I designed these. And actually, truth be told, I have a Pomeranian one, and I just haven't published the pattern yet.
Oh my gosh.
I got through all these puppies that year. What was it, 2022? And then by the time I got to that one, I just was like,
I'm done.
We're done.
We totally understand that. A total pattern burnout.
Yes. That's really hard to come back from sometimes.
Deb, you got a question?
No, I was just going to say, from the flip side, we did an episode last week on things that we could make for college students who are going off to school, freshmen who are freshly minted into the college life, and then upperclassmen who might be furnishing an apartment or things like that. And I know you submitted a few designs for that, which was really cool. What would be one of your favorite things to make for younger children, for elementary school children or middle schoolers, that they would either find useful or would help with some of their outfits? Okay.
I happen to have the hat too, because
there's a hat.
This is another one of these perfect, giftable, and it really just doesn't matter what age you are. You can make, and crochet is so popular right now that a crochet hat is perfect. And this is just your ribbing. This is actually made with bulky yarn, and I have yet to publish this pattern. But yeah,
I love the pom-pom. So easy to put on.
Gosh, I know.
The girls, as a general rule, just love pom-poms and things, up curly cues on it, that sort of thing. And it looks like that would also make up super quickly.
Yes. Yeah, this one was bulky too, but I do have a pattern already published with the same. It's the same pattern. It's just worsted weight yarn, and it is. It's just back loop only, half double crochet, and it's so simple, so quick. You can make a bunch of them, and everybody loves that ribbed hat look, so that works well. But it's very hard when you're trying to crochet for kids, because what a 5-year-old likes, they don't care. They love everything, versus what a 13-year-old's going to want.
Pretty
totally
particular
different leagues,
right?
So, but the hats and the mittens, they tend to just cross all,
Yep.
Well, and especially for, like if you're doing any kind of drive at school where they, donate things and stuff like that, kids are always in need of that.
Yes. I had a charity group before COVID hit. I was going to start another one, and then that happened, and it was like, oh, we're probably not going to want people donating a bunch of mittens they made at home because of that, Yeah. But we did a charity drive for mittens, and it was so popular. So we had a bunch of designers that designed new mittens, and they submitted the pattern, and then people could make those mittens and donate them. And yeah, it was very successful.
Here's a thought, and I don't know if this is a stupid idea or not. You could also do a teacher gift where you make them a small box of hats and mittens for kids who either forget theirs at home, or lost them on the way to school, and that way the teachers got something to give to the kids to go outside and play if they've got outside time and stuff like that.
Yes. And I've donated mittens to the schools before. If you just drop them in the front office, they can always use them. They like, winter clothes or socks even that you can, because kids get wet, and, it's just, not everybody can send an extra set of clothes to school with their children, and, things like that. Or sometimes mornings just get crazy, and even the best of the best moms can forget to send mittens to school one day. You know what I mean? So they're always useful.
And better than having to have them stay inside because they don't have the proper gear. They can do that.
Yes.
That would, fun idea. So you like quick and easy patterns. And I know that, all of us, it feels like our schedules are getting busier and busier.
Yeah.
What would be the quickest and easiest? I know that you showed us some towel holders and stuff like that. Is it all within that range then that you kind of stick with your quick stuff?
I do a lot of home decor, quick items right now. Of course, I've got a lot of the gift card type patterns because I love those. And they're just so useful no matter what's going on. Give it to the teachers back to school, baby showers, Christmas gifts for extended family or coworkers, things like that. So that's why I love those so much. I have the soup bowl cozies, which are really quick.
I love those. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're perfect. I mean, you can use them for anything, whether you're eating ice cream or soup or whatever,
Yes.
So it's nice.
I love those ideas.
Yeah. And it's fun too, because these also give new beginner crocheters. You've learned the basic stitches and you're feeling a little more confident. You can make some of these patterns. They're fun, but they're not that complicated.
Right.
Which is nice. And that's good. It gives you the confidence when you can get to the end of a project and you really love it and you can use it. And it gives you that sense of pride that you need to keep on the journey,
Absolutely.
No, I agree with you.
I feel like your patterns also have a very wide variety of skills. I mean, you've got the very, very basic beginners and you've got the complicated, although I don't feel like any of yours are so complicated that somebody can't just pick up and do them. However, okay, so we have to talk about the leg baskets just because they're one of my favorite things and you have so many of them.
Yes. I, that really started, I had gotten a Christmas tree shop catalog in the mail and they had a little bunny. It was wicker, but it was bunny legs. And I was like, I have to have a crochet version of this. So that's where it started, but I was only going to make the bunnies. And then I have a friend, Sherry, who was like, you need to make these into Santa and elf pants. This has to be done. And she actually worked up the Santa and elf version. I did the copy paste of the pattern. She actually made the samples. And then from there, it was like, but I could do leprechauns for St. Patrick's Day. I could do one for the 4th of July. Oh, but let's not forget Frankenstein and witches. And I actually have 3 different witch versions because I couldn't decide when I got to Halloween. So it just and I still have ones that I haven't made. I don't have a bride and groom one. Because I started with this. I got so into it that I was like, I'm going to do a book. I'm going to do a book. I'm going to, submit to a publisher. Let's do a book of these. So I'm going to reserve some of these and we'll do it when we get the, and then I don't know. I just never took that step because there's that part of you that's like, you want to be published. How cool is that to see your book in, Michael's or Walmart, even if they sell books? That's awesome. That feeling of pride, but also they're mine. These are my babies. I don't want somebody else to have ownership rights to my stuff. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, and it is a ton of work. It is so much work. I've watched people who have done books and it just takes over their life. That's the only thing they're doing. I mean, because they give you the advance, but they have a timeline.
You need to have this done in 6 months, Yeah. So, yeah. And if you're the one that has to also take the step out photos, and it's a lot. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm cheering for you. If you ever do go, I'm buying your book, but if you don't, then I love all those patterns. Are so cute because you make them so personal, because you've branched out from just doing the holidays, and you've got a little dancer, you've got a fisherman, you've got a soldier, you've got you've got all kinds of different personalities now.
Yeah, that was I think I might have started with the firefighter one, and I will tell you that is probably my most popular. It's like, I mean, I have to always, you have Etsy where you have to restock how many copies of it you have. You can only put so many because Etsy doesn't allow you to have infinite amount of digital copies. So you have to go back in, and I'm constantly having to go back in and adjust that because that's just, it sells like crazy. But when I first did the Elf and Santa, those were really, really popular. So in that time, but I was like, well, what else can I do? Because I was still on the high of all that, all the holidays, and you start to run out, and you're like, what other characters can I do? And I'm like, oh, but then you've got firefighters and police officers and military, and and then I have an artist basket that my sister designed.
Everybody loves to have a personalized gift like that.
Yes. Yeah. And and I did the healthcare worker one, and that one's another really popular one, because you have people that getting treatments for various reasons, or they work in the health field, or, nurse appreciation week. So that one's really, they just serve the purpose, and you can put different things. You can, you can customize them. So it can be a spa basket. It can be a snack basket. So you can movie night, I even have a pajama pants one. So,
I love that.
That kind of helps us. Just you bringing that up, talk about personalizing your crochet projects and your gifts that you give in your crochet projects. Like, what do you have some tips that you can give people to really make them, individual?
If you were making the character baskets, I actually do have a blog post that's like, what can I put in here? So I have different themed ideas for that specifically. But I mean, if you're doing the pot holders, it's really just knowing your recipient, or if, like, say you're going to do the teacher, but you don't know her that well or him that well, the basics, sugar cookies are always a good bet, or, blueberry muffins,
popcorn.
Yes. Just the things that are pretty universal. It can be hard these days because you just don't know what people can eat and can't anymore. I'm somebody that you couldn't just give me chocolate chip cookie mix because I can't eat it,
Yeah. But, right. Because there's so many that are like gluten-free or sugar-free or peanut-free or lactose.
Yeah.
Well, then just save yourself the trouble and get them a gift card.
There you go. That right there is the universal gift. You don't have to. And
I wanted to make you a cookie, but I didn't know if they would kill you. So,
right. People sometimes feel like gift cards are a cop-out, and I feel like it's not really, especially with somebody extended, because the thing is, if you give them something they can't, then what are they going to do? We're going to throw it away. We got to find somebody else to give it to. We got to go take our time and return it. It's not as, it's really convenient if somebody gives you gift cards. And I can tell you, teachers and bus drivers love them. They love them. I can go stop before work and get a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, get myself a donut if they ever have them. And
my daughter works in childcare, and it's not teaching, but she's in daycare, and usually they do teacher gifts and stuff like that. And there, every once in a while I hear, oh yeah, I had a gift card, or oh, I had a gift card, or oh, I had a gift. I'm like, girl, you're just rocking in the dough. Because she's always going, and it's like, oh, I had a gift card from my parents, and so yeah, you're not wrong. They're very, very useful.
And I mean, teachers spend a lot of their own money on these things. Yeah. People don't spend a lot. I mean, now that I homeschool, it's not necessarily the forefront of my mind anymore, but I always donated school supplies when my kids were in school, because the teachers are buying those, and my kids would forget their pencil every day. You know what I mean? So those my boys were wicked like that. If they even brought a notebook, it would be wonderful, so to give the teachers these things to have on hand so that everybody's day just can keep it moving. People don't get that too. Like being a homeschool mom now, I can tell you, we homeschool 2 hours, maybe. That's all it takes to teach kids what they need to know every day. But your kids are in school for 8 hours because they have to get all the students through the same curriculum.
Right.
And so those little things like not having a pencil is actually a big deal. It's a whole lot, you know?
Yeah, it is for sure. Wow. You don't even think about stuff like that. So a great way to personalize gifts, especially for teachers. And I mean, when we say personalize, make it useful for them. You know, it's not just a throwaway thing. And I see a lot of groups on Facebook who are like, oh, well, I'm going to make them this pencil, this amigurumi pencil, which, you know, it's probably super fun and they would probably love it. And it is very, very cute. But let's think practical terms. Is the teacher going to be able to use that for their classroom purposes? And they just don't have a lot of extra space. Some of these teachers are teaching in like closets. So, you know, it's not like they have all this extra space to hold all this stuff. I mean, your intentions are amazing.
Right, exactly.
You make a really great point about making sure that it's useful.
Yeah, because that is a thing people, and no teacher is going to be like, oh, I can't use that, take it home. You know what I mean?
So I hope to God not.
Right. You know, well, yeah, I hope that'd be something.
What is this?
Yeah. So it is nice, you know, and I've done it in the past, you know. I think when my daughter did preschool, I actually have a website, she'ssocreative.com, for my other crafts, which I'm now at a point where I'm thinking about maybe just merging the two to get rid of the additional website. But, you know, I made this cute little wall hanging plaque that was like, thanks for helping me grow. And, you know, and she helped paint it. And, you know, but do they still have it today? Probably not. I would love to have that back if you're going to get, you know what I mean? So it's just like the things, and you'll see the mugs in Goodwill or wherever, you know, because if everybody gets them a mug,
they just don't have the space.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people want to do something so special that we all think practical is, like you said, a cop out.
Boring.
It's not. Yeah, but it's not. And I mean, you're thinking you have families, again, you got families that can go over the top and get a big gift basket or whatever. And you've got families that are going to try to get the teacher something from the Dollar Tree. Fantastic. A $5 gift card is just as special. Because you can spend that on things, you know? So you don't have to really feel like I have to get a gift.
Well, I think that's why the gift card holder, crocheting something that puts your personality into that makes the gift card a little bit more. I put some thought into this. I think that's why we one of the reasons why gift cards feel so impersonal is because you just go out, you buy it, or you order it online, it comes in the mail, and it just doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of effort put into it.
Yeah.
But the gift card holders make it personal. I think that's a great way to look at it.
And they're regiftable. So if you're going to give a gift card, you know, you can pass it on.
Right.
It's kind of like those paper bags. We just had Stephanie's baby shower this last weekend, and we've got probably 75 baby bags. And I'm just like, what am I going to do with all of these bags? We don't know that many people. So I was telling him, like, well, we could just take them to the thrift store and donate them there, because people go there looking for stuff like that all the time. And she's like, really? You would thrift something like that? I'm like, people look for
if it was in good shape. Absolutely.
Right.
Well, they're in beautiful shape. So I think that's where
you know what I did with all my stuff was I cut it up and I made a collage, like a poster. Yeah. So all the wrapping paper in the bags, we had little.
Oh, cute.
I'm wicked sentimental anyway, so I want to hold on to every little piece of this memory that I can.
Oh, you and my dad would get along great. He's a
Are you like
hoarder
my
for
husband?
memories.
My husband, on the other hand, thinks just throw it away.
Yeah, I know. Mine is a lot like that too. Mine too. All right. Deb, did you have any questions or anything that you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I just have to say that one of the things I love about your designs is they have so much personality. They're not only things that you might not think of to crochet, like the leg gift baskets and things like that, and the pot holders that hold cookie mix, but they have so much personality. And I think that's what makes them so special.
Yeah,
They're
and you
a
have
lot of
great
fun to
detail.
make. Yeah. Oh, I do a lot of research with those character baskets. Or, I love whimsy. I really think that just is my design style. But I try to get some of the details as true to life as I can. So like with the dog, I'm like really searching. Okay, what does the color pattern look like? Do I get the shape of the ears right? So always looking into that. But they still come out that playful, whimsical.
Yes. Well, and doable. They're approachable because there are ones that are out there, and I look, and yes, they look just like the thing, but I'm not touching it because it's too hard. I'm not doing it.
All the different shaping and I try to keep them in a easy skill level. A lot of I would have to say probably a good 90% of my patterns are the easy skill level. They might not be beginner, but they're definitely not advanced. I have very few patterns that I don't think I have any, I would say advanced. Intermediate I have. And it's really just a little bit of shaping involved or a lot of pieces to make and put together. But
which appeals to a broad range of crocheters.
Yeah,
it does.
Because it's nice to have that. I just want something quick to make today. Oh, I need a last minute gift. Again, I love to make my giftables. And then there's the beginners that are like, oh, I really want to try to tackle that. And you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you are so supportive in your I'm in your group, and I follow you on Facebook and stuff like that, and you're always there, when everybody has a question. So, you can feel safe using your patterns because you know that your questions are going to get answered if they come up.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yep.
I was going to ask you, and put you on the spot. Can you run down what not the majority, but can you run down kind of what the themes of your gift card holders are? Because I've made several of them, but I tend towards the Christmas stuff, and I know you've got more than that.
Yeah, so the very first one I ever made, and it's actually labeled a treat bag because you can fit gift cards in here, but there's also the space for the little candies. You can get crochet hooks in them. So there's enough space for the fun little gifts too. The first one I made was for Valentine's Day. It's got a big heart on the front, and that's a square one. And then I ended up making one years later that has lips. So just to go with the Valentine's theme. I have one for Halloween, which I do have a pumpkin one planned for this year, like pumpkin shaped. But this one I have is square with pumpkin appliques on the front. I have the snowman. One's got the scarf. Wait, I can't remember exactly what it looks like. Oh yeah, the buttons with the scarf, and then there's the snowman.
I've done that one.
And then the Santa and Elf with the belly, the belt
and I've
on
done
it.
Those.
And I'm sure there's more, but I can't think right now. But yeah, I like to do them, especially when you get into the new baby one.
I was going to say there's the baby one.
Holder. Yep, and I had actually designed that for my daughter-in-law when she was pregnant with my first grandson. It's because gift cards. That's another one where gift cards are really helpful.
It's a little baby head with a little baby hat on top, and then the little thing folds over like a little blanket, and
it's the receiving blanket.
It's so cute.
So the receiving blanket's attached, but there's the space that you can stick it in there. Yeah. So I think that might be all of them. I don't know. I love them. My shark, of course. I've showed this 100 times now.
Is your new one. Yeah.
They're just, I love them, and you can put more than just that in there. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do Shark Week every year now. This is what, your second year that you did those patterns?
This is second year, yeah.
Okay.
So when I started last year.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're going to talk about that because I'm like, how do you come up with these patterns?
So when I started last year, I'm like, you know what? We watch this like every year. And, kind of some of it's like just repeated. So, but we love Shark Week. It's kind of interesting. And, I'm the true crime, so this about me. I love so a shark attack really kind of goes into mommy's murder shows. But
I'm just gonna be over here. You two can just whatever.
My husband calls them my DIY shows.
You're getting ideas. So we watched that, and I'm like, I actually had planned Shark Week for my She's So Creative page years ago. And I had all kinds of designs, and I actually made all these different crafts for it. And then I just never did it. You know, you'll see that with me a lot. It's the ADHD thing. Like, oh, it's just not my mood anymore. But
I have moved on.
It's like you get that out of your mind, and then you're like, do I really want to take the extra step to now publish that? But yeah, so I was like, you know, I really should do it. I mean, sharks are fun. There's not a ton of ideas out there. You got a lot of shark amigurumis, but then what?
Everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually I'll research Google, what is out there for home decor ideas. And if you like maybe see a shark wall hanging and it will spark you like, oh, what if I did this? Or what if I did that? So you'll see different things and you're like, how can I make that into a shark? So like the shark bookends this year. I think
oh my gosh,
a dinosaur.
Kill me now.
I was like, I can make that into a shark, you know?
Isn't that the funniest?
I have enough of a list at this point that I can do Shark Week again next year because
that's awesome.
But I had only intended it to do it last year. Like I wasn't going to do this every year, but then this year came around and I was like, I could probably do it again. That was really kind of fun.
Yes. Well, and the thing is that, you know, if you do it enough years in a row, people are going to start looking for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and especially when you come up with such fun ideas, because you did a pillow too. And like you have the axolotl pillow, but then you also made a shark pillow. Was the shark pillow this year or was that last year?
That was last year. And that's how I ended up making the axolotl this year. I wasn't planning to do Shark Week this year. So I had scheduled myself for different events leading up to it.
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? So like I did Underground Crafter. I had her for July 4th, I think. And I was like, oh no, and I'm coming into Shark Week. I can't post a shark. So I had to like, what am I going to do? You know, get yourself back out of that mode. So yeah, you just kind of, I ended up coming up with a crab blanket for that. And the last event was an axolotl pillow. I can repurpose this pattern. And I love to be able to do that. Because then you can just change the little details and now we have a set.
Yeah, the majority of the work is already done.
Yep.
That's awesome. Let's see. We are at we're at about our normal length for our podcast. And but I don't want to cut you off. Is there anything extra that you would like everybody to know about you, about Blackstone Designs? You know, is there something that you have that's going to maybe be coming up? What else would you like to say?
Well, we're in the middle of the New Year resolution crochet along, which is learning a new stitch every month. You can join that at any time, of course, because the patterns will always be free on my website, and there's YouTube. My YouTube is still kind of in a baby stage, so if you want to follow it, that'd be fantastic because, you know, you
give her a follow.
Watch hours, you know how that goes. So yeah, we've got that crochet along going. So August's new stitch is about to come up. And then in November, we have our 30 days of crochet pattern giveaway. So, you know, watch out for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. So I'm not doing a crochet along at Christmas this year. Normally I try to work with you and stuff like that, but not this year, girl. But Debbie, is there anything that you'd like to say or add before we say goodbye?
I don't think so. This has been a trip and a half for me because I just love all the things that you have to offer. And it's this perfect for our back to school theme. Thinking about the kids going back to school, thinking about end of school year teacher gifts, all of that kind of stuff. Perfect. Yeah. And for those beginner crocheters who are looking for something really special.
Yes,
absolutely. Yep. And we're going to have Sonya's information in our descriptions so that you can go ahead and connect with her. We'll give you her website and her Facebook information and her YouTube. I'll include all that stuff so that you can follow her, do the likes, do the shares, do the, you know, all the free stuff behind the scenes that helps us all. So
yeah, right. Yes,
but
please.
Yes, please. This is the big time. But thank you everybody for joining us today. We actually had a really good audience today that showed up, and whether you said hi the chitty chats or you didn't. We're so glad that you guys stopped by for some time with us today. And I hope that you learned a little bit more about Sonya. And we will see you guys on the flip side.